Richard Lewis, the neurotic comic who turned personal angst into punchlines, set the bar for candid storytelling. Richard Roundtree, the original black detective, showed how swagger and resolve can rewrite genre expectations. Quincy Jones, the sonic architect, proved that relentless studio discipline creates timeless soundscapes. Val Kilmer, chameleon of the screen, reminds us that immersive preparation can mask a fragile self. James Earl Jones, voice of authority, illustrates how disciplined vocal work can become a cultural cornerstone. Loretta Lynn, country's unapologetic storyteller, showed that relentless touring and songwriting forge enduring authenticity. Freddie Mercury, the flamboyant frontman, proved that relentless rehearsal can turn raw talent into myth. Prince, genre-bending virtuoso, taught that artistic control and daily studio grind can rewrite pop history. Matthew Perry, sitcom savant, shows how relentless line rehearsals mask personal turbulence behind laughter. Robert De Niro approaches each role like a craftsman sharpening a blade. He begins with a mountain of research, cataloging every nuance of a character before he ever steps onto a set. For the 1976 boxer Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull, De Niro spent months in the gym, learning to throw and take punches, then added 3 pounds of muscle and finally shed 24 pounds to portray LaMotta's later years. He said in a 1995 interview with Rolling Stone that the physical transformation was only half the work. The other half was living as a boxer, eating the same meals, sleeping in the same cramped rooms, and studying the psychology of a fighter who loved the ring and hated himself. That obsessive preparation is a through line in his career. When he played Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, De Niro didn't just watch the city. He rode the subway, took night shift jobs, and even slept on a bench in Times Square to capture the alienation of a veteran returning to a gritty New York. He later recalled to the New York Times that the experience left him feeling both exhausted and exhilarated, a paradox that fuels his artistic engine. De Niro's partnership with Martin Scorsese is a study in disciplined collaboration. The two men treat each other like co-pilots on a long flight, constantly checking the altitude of performance. On Goodfellas, De Niro spent weeks with real-life mobsters, absorbing their speech patterns, gestures, and the subtle hierarchy of respect that governed their world. He kept a notebook of slang terms and body language, then rehearsed the scenes with Scorsese until the cadence felt inevitable. Their joint work ethic is credited with redefining the modern crime drama, turning the genre into a kinetic, character-driven experience. Behind the camera, De Niro's discipline translates into entrepreneurial rigor. After the September 11th attacks, he co-founded the Tribeca Film Festival, a venture that demanded months of logistical planning, fundraising, and community outreach. He treated the festival like a production, insisting on tight schedules, clear budgets, and a curatorial vision that would revitalize Lower Manhattan's cultural life. The festival's success demonstrates his belief that the same rehearsal and rehearsal process that refines a performance can rebuild a city. Even his directorial efforts echo this methodical mindset. In A Bronx Story, De Niro spent a year developing the script, conducting endless interviews with residents of the Bronx to capture authentic dialects and street rhythms. He then rehearsed each scene with actors for weeks, insisting on multiple takes until the emotional truth landed. Critics noted that the film's texture feels less like a Hollywood gloss and more like a lived memoir, a testament to his commitment to process over polish. The public sees De Niro as an iconic, almost mythic figure, an actor whose name alone guarantees box office gravitas. Yet the private cost of that myth is a series of relentless compromises. His dedication to immersion can eclipse personal relationships. During the making of The Irishman, he spent months on set, often working 12-hour days, which his ex-wife, Grace Hightower, described as a factor in their 2018 separation. De Niro has spoken candidly about the strain, acknowledging that his single-minded focus sometimes left his family on the periphery of his world. Health, too, has been a silent partner in his discipline. In 2019, De Niro suffered a concussion after a fall on a set, an incident that reminded him of the body's limits. He publicly discussed the episode, noting that the same focus he applies to a role must be tempered with self-care, a lesson he now imparts to younger actors at his New York acting studio. De Niro's reputation for being demanding on set is well documented. Co-star Harvey Keitel recalls that De Niro would call a scene dead if the energy faltered, prompting repeated takes that sometimes frustrated crew members. Yet many collaborators also speak of his generosity. He often funds independent projects, offers mentorship, and shares his extensive network with emerging talent. This duality, toughness paired with philanthropy, creates a portrait of a man who views the industry as a craft guild, where mastery is earned through both rigor and reciprocity. His willingness to embrace new technology underscores his adaptive discipline. For The Irishman, De Niro agreed to be digitally de-aged, a process that required him to perform scenes with a green screen and minimal physical cues. He described the experience in a 2019 interview with Variety as a test of imagination, insisting that the actor's internal truth must anchor even the most futuristic tools. The result was a performance that, despite the visual controversy, demonstrated his commitment to pushing artistic boundaries. Beyond cinema, De Niro's business acumen reflects the same systematic approach. He co-owns the Nobu restaurant chain, a venture that began as a partnership with chef Nobu Matsuhisa and has grown into a global brand. De Niro treats each new location like a production rollout, overseeing menu consistency, brand identity, and operational standards. This meticulous oversight mirrors his film work. Success is built on repeatable processes, not happenstance. In recent years, De Niro continues to balance acting, producing, and advocacy. He remains a vocal supporter of the arts, speaking at congressional hearings on arts funding and championing programs that bring film education to underserved communities. His public statements stress that the cultural ecosystem thrives only when the behind-the-scenes labor research, rehearsal, and relentless iteration is recognized and valued. The narrative of Robert De Niro is therefore not a simple ascent from Brooklyn Kid to Hollywood legend, but a continuous cycle of preparation, performance, and reinvestment. Each role is a laboratory where he tests the limits of physical and emotional endurance. Each festival, restaurant, and studio is a platform where he applies the same ledger-like discipline that guides his acting choices. What sets De Niro apart is his refusal to rest on past triumphs. At 80, he still seeks roles that challenge his methodology. In the upcoming thriller, Killers of the Flower Moon, he will again collaborate with Scorsese, this time embodying a complex figure from early 20th century America. He approaches the part with the same notebook-filled research, the same early morning rehearsals, and the same willingness to confront discomfort. The public image of the unflappable star is thus constantly being reshaped by the private grind that fuels his longevity. The contrast between the polished, silver-screen persona and the grueling, often invisible labor behind it offers a lesson for any creative professional. De Niro's career illustrates that fame is a byproduct of disciplined rehearsal, that the spotlight is merely a reflection of countless unseen hours, and that the cost of greatness is measured in personal sacrifice and relentless self-examination. As the documentary Voice draws to a close, the image of Robert De Niro is not just that of a cinematic icon, but of a living craftsman who still wakes before sunrise to study, rehearse, and refine. His story reminds viewers that the legends we admire are forged in the same studios, gyms, and streets that ordinary people inhabit. Only they choose to turn those spaces into arenas of relentless practice. The legend continues, not because the curtain has fallen, but because the next act is already in rehearsal. Robert De Niro's journey, therefore, is a testament to the power of disciplined craft, the hidden costs of public adulation, and the enduring belief that art, like any trade, thrives on preparation, repetition, and the courage to confront one's own limitations.